This is the 7 steps to your best e-newsletter. So let me read off some e-newsletters that I receive. Free. Call today. Need more paying clients? Think about these. Scottsdale Synergy B&I Networking e-news. A quick biz tip. Do you have a not to-do list? See your business benefit. Okay, so those are some of the subjects. Oh, one more. I like this one best. 3-day weekend. This is for Labor Day weekend. Schedule your massage. Yes. So I want you to think about those for a second. Now, what you might assume is that when you're writing your e-newsletter, first step, I'm going to write a compelling subject title. No. We don't want to talk about our subject until we figure out what we're going to write about first, right? Make sense? Okay. So this is actually on page 23 and 24 in your workbooks. So that'll help you with notes. Because I kind of got carried away with them, so this pretty much says a lot of what I might talk about. So why do we send out a newsletter? What is our objective in sending out a newsletter? That's why I kicked off with
client retention, client generation.
All right, good answer. Good answer. Woo, woo. No, not yet. That was not the trivia question. Okay. So what other reasons might there be?
Stay connected.
Stay connected. Excellent. Anything else?
Top of mind.
Stay top of mind. When if any of you have talked with Dan Creed, he will tell you about the lists research, that people only keep 5 things, categories of a brand in their minds. If you ask them how many brands for TVs or televisions, they will give you literally 5. They can't get beyond 5. So if they're talking to coaches and they're talking to consultants and they're talking to all these different types of people, which we tend to get categorized in, we become a blur. We might not make that top 5. By having an e-newsletter, a compelling e-newsletter, not B&I news, who cares, but something compelling that says something interesting about who you are and what makes you different, of something of value to those people, it's very important. Now, so step number 1 is making sure that you understand what your objective is. And I think Rick Scott actually talked about know what your goal is of whatever it is that you do. It's very important because you'll never know if you got there if you don't actually have one or you haven't identified it. So you write down your goal. My goal is to stay connected with my clients. You know why? Why might it be important to understand what your goal is?
So your subjects don't drift.
Your subjects don't drift, exactly. The content of your newsletter is directly related to your objective. So don't stray and think, oh, I'm gonna shoot for prospects now this month, and then next month I'm gonna talk about, how do you do pricing strategy, right? So you're switching around too much. It's very confusing to your audience. Second step. This is the easiest step, so you should be able to pull this one off. Determine the frequency of your newsletter. How often do you want to communicate with your prospects and your customers? So one of the challenges with this is that you may want to every week. I'd love to connect with these folks every week. It'll increase my odds of closure rates and of keeping my customers or keeping my clients' retention, what the word was used. Well, how many of us, and some of us are writers and some of us aren't. I happen to have 2 degrees in it, and if anybody needs to outsource their writing, I'd be happy to do that. So it literally takes me an hour to do 4 newsletters. So, but we all have our gifts, and writing might not be one of yours, or you might just hate it. That whole concept of a blank sheet of paper. If you don't like to write, and you want to do a weekly newsletter, and you're going to commit to it, I suggest you outsource it. Because the biggest problem is, you start out, I'm going to do this every week. And so for week 1, great newsletter. Week 2,